Are you wondering if the turbo to your Duramax truck is getting enough oil to run properly? Well, today we're going to figure out exactly how to test that. And keep in mind, this trick will actually work on pretty much any turbocharged vehicle. So the techniques used here will work on pretty much any vehicle that is turbocharged if you want to check for proper oil flow to your turbo. For those of you new to the channel, I'm Anton, a power engineer, industrial mechanic, and a Red Seal electrician. We cover all kinds of products and topics in an approachable way for the average everyday person. I'm glad you found us. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. Recently, we've been looking at ways to diagnose and troubleshoot issues with the turbo on this Duramax diesel truck. Now, one of the things that I was worried about was oil starvation to the turbo. And part of the reason for that is, in my case, I've actually recently swapped the turbo and I noticed that the oil line was pinched off a little bit, like it had kinked. Now I unkinked it and I was wondering, was that negatively affecting the flow to the turbo? So this is going to test if there is a kinked line issue, and then ultimately it's going to tell us if we need to look at other problems for our low boost situation or if we've found that problem. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly how we're going to hook up and test the oil flow on this Duramax engine. Now the trick that we're going to use here will work on pretty much most diesels specifically, but I'm going to use an extra special trick here because there's not a lot of room for hooking up to this thing. So I'll show you exactly what I did to actually get a reliable oil tap. So let's go have a look at that setup. Now you may be wondering, just how much flow are we expecting here? If you have a ball bearing turbo, you should get somewhere between 1.5 and 1.8 liters per minute. Now we're only going to run this test for 15 seconds, so we can take that number and divide it by 4 to figure out roughly how big of a container we need. In this case, I would round up to 2 liters. You need a container that is at least 250 milliliters. Now to be safe, you might want to have something that's at least half a liter, just in case you pump more oil than you expect, because that's the minimum we're expecting. We need at least that much. Now if you have a plain bearing turbo, you're going to be looking for between 1.8 and 2 liters per minute. Now if you're not sure what kind of turbo you have, just go with the bigger number and you know you'll be safe. If during the course of this test you find that you do only have 1.5 or 1.8 liters per minute, then you might want to spend a little extra time to figure out what kind of turbo you have, just to make sure you're not cooking it. A plain bearing turbo has no roller bearings inside. It's just really a smooth surface that's counting on that oil to create the lubrication needed for the shaft to spin properly. That's how you can tell if you're looking at the turbo, but probably you're not seeing inside the turbo, so a quick Google search will tell you the information you need to know. And in this case, I have no idea what kind of turbo I have, so I'm going to go with that bigger number. Now I'm going to assume about 1.8 to 2 liters, which means I need at least a 500 milliliter container. And this guy here is plenty big enough. It's from my wife's Tupperware collection, and hopefully she won't notice. I'm gonna have to clean this out before she gets home so that she doesn't know that we've been up to car work with her kitchen appliance stuff. But next thing what we've got to do is just do that flow test and see what we come up with. So I'm going to set up for the flow test and I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing, and then I'll walk you through exactly how we did it. So now we've got the hose connected up, we've got the container, and my plan here is start the engine, wait until oil starts flowing, then start the timer, move it over to the container for 15 seconds, and then move it back over while my son shuts the truck off. Now we've climbed right up on the engine bay here so that we can get to the turbo oil feed line. I've disconnected it. This one's got a banjo fitting, and I found a nut that actually spins onto the bolt so that I can have all of the oil coming out through the middle of this bolt. And then I've just used a piece of tubing like this, which I'm able to shove into that hole, just like that. And then I can reliably get the oil out and into a spout that I can aim at a jar or whatever, because there's not a lot of room in here, especially with the line being a solid line, for us to be able to get any kind of container in there. And with the amount of flow on this truck, you need a pretty big container. Now in our case, It happened a lot faster than I thought it would, and we got a lot more oil than we thought we would. So we were thinking 2 liters per minute maximum, so 500 milliliters maximum, but it ended up being a lot more. So in our case, we actually shut the test down after 10 seconds. Not a big deal, you just need to know when you shut it down so that you can do your calculations properly. Now, as you guys saw, this was an absolute mess. Oil came out everywhere. I did not make it to 15 seconds. I only made it to about 10 seconds because my container started to overflow. So we're gonna times our reading by 6 to get our liters per minute, but I don't even know if this container is gonna be big enough. I'm gonna go over to the grass to dump this out. And I just want to see how much oil we got in 10 seconds out of this thing. So in 10 seconds, we got roughly 350 milliliters. So if I go 350 milliliters times 10, I'm getting roughly 3.5 liters or 3,500 milliliters per minute. So I'm well within the flow requirements to feed oil to this turbo. Now this rules out the problem that I thought I might have, which was just confirming that I had enough oil going to my turbo. So now for me, I've got to continue looking at other issues with my turbo because I know that it's not oil related. Hopefully that helps some of you guys to troubleshoot your turbos. Keep in mind this works on any turbocharged vehicle. This one was just specifically on this Duramax truck. And when you're done doing your test, you can just dump that oil right back in the hole it came out of. There's no need to waste oil here. Put that right back in the engine until the next oil change. Now this oil is pretty dirty. It's probably due for an oil change soon, but it's obviously a different video for a different time. As you can see, in our case, the test only went for 10 seconds, but we ended up with over 3 liters per minute of oil, which is not a bad thing. More oil is not a bad thing. What it does is prove that oil starvation to the turbo is not the problem that I have in my circumstance. If you do have that problem, then you'll have to look at different solutions to your oil flow issues. One thing that you also noticed is that came out, it happens so fast. Extra set of hands is definitely helpful here. Do expect that oil to come out quickly and make sure that you're prepared for that. Now in my case, I'm gonna have to go shampoo this engine off because we've got oil everywhere, but at least I know that I'm not cooking this turbo by not having enough oil flow to it. Hopefully that helps you guys out. Now keep in mind that this test can be done on pretty much any turbocharged engine as long as it's oil cooled, which pretty much all of them are. So you just need to pop that line off. Now some of you are gonna say, won't I run the risk of cooking the turbo while I'm running it without oil for this test? This test is able to be done for 10 or 15 seconds, but that is all. So if you need to repeat the test, what you'll want to do is either reattach that oil line and run the vehicle to get oil back through, or take some of the oil that you got out from the first test and dump it down that hole where the turbo is. That will allow you to re-lubricate the turbo and make sure that it's not running dry, because we don't want to damage the turbo testing if we're not getting oil, which would damage the turbo. That would be really ridiculous. But 10, 15, 20 seconds running with reduced oil, not a big deal. You're gonna be okay. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video. We'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.